Today I'm going to be ranking every Skylanders story, which is basically just the story that gets told through the Skylanders games. I'm going to basically rate them on how memorable they were and how much I thought that they affected the game, basically. And I know there's going to be a couple spots I think that probably everyone will disagree with me with, so put your opinions in the comments below. But with all that being said, let's get right into the ranking. Okay, so I know basically everyone will disagree with me on this one, but in last place, Skylanders Adventure. Okay, look, let me tell you why the story is in last place. It's the least interesting for me. This story is really just like, it's just told basically through the lens of, hey, Skylander, go get this thing. Oh, cool, you got the thing? Now let's go get the next thing. Basically, every level you're trying to get a thing that you can use to power up the core light, and the entire story is just basically you need to get a couple of things so you can destroy Chaos's thing. It's just things. All the story is things. You got to get a couple of things, put them in the core of light thingy, boom, go destroy Chaos's big dragon thing. There really isn't that much depth to the story, I don't feel like, but I know a bunch of people, SSA fanboys, in the comments will be like, okay, yeah, but there's so many layers to this story. Look, I don't care. For me, this story is not that really interesting, which is why it gets last place. Okay, I know I defend Imaginators a lot, but the story is lacking in a lot of ways, especially being the game after Superchargers, which we'll get to in a bit. The story is pretty weird, especially the cake part where you have to distract Chaos by making him a cake. I don't really understand that part. The only reason why I put it above Skylanders Adventure is because I think there are some parts of this story that are kind of cool, but SSA is mostly just bland. That's why it gets 5th place instead of 6th place. Not by that much, though. Coming in 4th place is Swap Force. The reason I don't have this higher is because I actually forgot the story. I had to look it up, and that's not a good sign. And when I looked up this story for Swap Force seemed kind of interesting. You know, the elementals were protecting the volcano, then they got attacked. But hey, the Swap Force can protect them. But then they got in the volcano, boom, you know, they became swappers. And then kind of the rest of the story is how Chaos is using evil crystals to evilize the enemies, which is kind of cool, I gotta say. And he's gonna try to evilize elementals. Then his mom comes in, like, I don't know, his mom just comes in, you know, takes Tessa. We gotta go save her. The biggest part of the story I like is the evilized crystals. Chaos's plots just get so much weirder throughout the games, and I think this is when they start having a tad interesting plots. But yeah, the evil crystals is really cool, but just the fact that most of the rememberable characters got scrapped for characters that just simply aren't as good in this game, I can't put it above the other games. And I'm sad about that because the story is pretty good, but a lot of the characters in this game are lacking because they're just downgrades from the original characters that we have, which is why it gets 4th place. Next on the list is Giants. This story is a huge step up from SSA. Now, the beginning is kind of strange. They basically break the 4th wall in the beginning. They kind of just tell you that, yeah, the Skylanders are toys, and Chaos kind of just talks to the toys about it, how they are toys. This part is super weird. I know what they were trying to do, but it just kind of flopped. This part is really weird. But the rest of that the rest of the story is very good. Chaos finds a giant arcane gauntlet and becomes a robot, which is very interesting. And then Chaos makes one of the best boss villains ever in Drill X to find the lost city of Arcus. Basically, the entire story, you and Chaos are both trying to find the lost city of Arcus, and it's who can get there first. And then, in the saddest part ever in Skylanders, you try to find the map to the lost city of Arcus, but Chaos gets there in just the nick of time, and then he kills our best robot friend. Guys, this is such a sad moment, boys. Can we get an F in the chats for our ghost robot friend? It's so sad. But wait, in the final boss fight, oh my god, it's our ghost robot friend. He's back for vengeance, and he helps us defeat Chaos. And in my opinion, one of the best boss fights ever in the Skylanders game, and the story just ends very nicely like that, and that's why it gets 3rd place. In 2nd place, we got Trap Team. Now this story is really cool. Chaos jailbreaks a bunch of villains, and we gotta bring them back to justice, Western style, or not really, but that's cool. We're basically we're the new sheriffs in town, and we gotta take out these bad guys because there's only room for like 54 of us. I think that's how many Skylanders are in Trap Team. But I actually like how pretty much for the whole game, Chaos is not looked at as the main villain. Actually, the Golden Queen is. I like how they actually kick him out and take Glumshanks with him, and that adds a bit more character depth to Chaos, and he even teams up with us. Now, it is very obvious that Chaos will betray us eventually, but I mean, I think it does add more depth to him. So yeah. Also, the very end is really cool, where he actually uses the Traptanian power, and I guess it kind of corrupts him because he turns purple or whatever and becomes even more powerful than before, and we gotta stop him once again. The story is a really good story, and that's why it gets second place. Now in first place is Superchargers. Now I know I said a lot of bad things about Superchargers, but this story is a great story. I mean, it actually starts off where we're not in Skylands and Chaos has taken over Skylands. I think that's a really cool thing they did. Where Chaos is actually the ruler of Skylands right now, and we have to go save a bunch of our friends that Chaos has taken captive. Really, really cool story. And basically, the rest of the game is kind of about how Chaos and the Darkness are basically getting along, I guess you could say. They keep talking to each other throughout the game, and you can see that Chaos gets more and more annoyed by the darkness, and the Darkness does get more and more annoyed by Chaos throughout the games. And Chaos, when he finally realizes that he can destroy all of Skylands, but it won't be his work, it'd be the Darkness's work, he doesn't like that. And it actually turns Chaos into a character. It actually gives him emotions that regular characters would have that we haven't seen before. And then when the Darkness is about to destroy all the Skylands, Chaos, he turns him off. He literally does. He uses the machine to suck him away. And that's really cool because Chaos doesn't want the Darkness to destroy Skylands. Chaos wants Chaos to destroy Skylands. I mean, Chaos even says it. He's like, no, you're not Chaos, I'm Chaos. And the only person that will destroy Skylands is Chaos. And it adds more character depth to him, and we haven't really seen that much character depth in Chaos before, and it's really cool to see him like cope with the fact, like, you know, he doesn't want someone to destroy Skylands for him. He wants to do it himself, even if he might never be able to do it. And then in the very end, the Darkness actually comes back. You know, the words start, you know, disappearing, and the Darkness is all like, hey, you thought I was gone, you fool. It's really cool, and even though the boss fight is pretty underwhelming, if I'm being honest, I'm really sad how to be blocked in the vehicle section. It's still a really, really cool story. Also, the part where Glumshanks sacrifices himself. That part is really sad because, like, I kind of thought he wouldn't be dead because it's a kid's game, but when he gets sucked away, like when he sacrificed himself for you, we didn't know if he would be alive or not. And it was just like really, really sad. You know, he basically, Glumshanks was never a bad guy, but when he got the chance to help out the Skylanders, he did it without hesitation, and it's just a very sad part of the story. Adds way more character depth to Glumshanks too. It adds character depth to arguably the better characters in the game, which are Chaos and Glumshanks. I love those characters, and I'm glad they added a lot more character depth to them. It's just so sad that the gameplay is not as good as the story, because if the gameplay was good and the story is my opinion, this game would easily be my favorite, but since the gameplay is not that good, it gets last place on my favorite games. But for the story, it gets first place easily. Okay guys, well, hope you guys have enjoyed this video about me ranking the stories that Skylanders have to offer. Now, I know probably a lot of you will disagree with me, so put your opinions in the comments below, and thank you guys for watching.